Hello, everyone. Welcome to my universe. And hello there, Protox. Thank you very much. Man. Alright. So let's see. Last time I kind of left off where I kind of had the composition where I wanted, and I was debating on how I wanted to design her outfit and stuff. Yeah, no problem. Okay, like I said, always happy to have people here. It is. It is true. I did animate the start and end screen, and the animation is subtle, but I mean, I've done animations on my drawings before. It just takes a lot of extra work, and right now, Inochi 2D, a little bit unstable, and not to mention, the animation timeline is very much incomplete. I was hoping that more would be done on that at some point, but it seems like it's not a priority anytime soon. So I just need to find programs better suited to it, because the way I have to do it there is just a complete pain, and yeah. I would rather not. So, I have looked into alternatives, but I haven't really taken the time to dig into it. And of course, I draw pretty slow. So just regular frame-by-frame stuff, a bit out of my ability for the time being. So no, I mean, it's already something I can do. Just right now, the tools I have are insufficient. Alright. Man. I'm still not entirely sure where I want to be going. I know I need something nice and fancy up on the chest area here. I think the hair is probably fine now. I think just giving her usual bangs instead of trying to do something fancy ended up working there. So I think that's all fine. We don't see much of the back. So how it's all structured back there probably doesn't really matter that much. But right now, I'm picturing like a series of braids in my head. Her hair is like ridiculously long, especially considering how much of it must be tied up into this little ball here. Given, I guess it's not super clear on this, but yeah, it's a whole ton of little braids just kind of balled up. So that must be quite long, given that her hair already goes to roughly, you know, her mid-thigh. If we straightened all that out, I wouldn't be surprised if it was dragging on the floor. So, I would like to keep conservation of mass here, but that's probably sufficient for the time being. I don't think I want to go too hard on the arms other than, you know, glitter, because glitter makes everything better. And actually thinking about it, I think I would like that to be a little bit more opaque. So I get the feeling today is going to be a lot of flailing. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. There's gonna be there's gonna be a bit of flailing where I just think about things and wait, how did I set that to? 65. Okay. I think about things, I try a bunch of patterns, and I kind of see what works. I didn't have quite as much time to think about this as I was hoping, because life is hard. I ended up going a bit too hard on my weekly illustration again. I can't help myself. It keeps happening. It looks pretty good though, so, you know, I guess it's okay. But, it does mean that I didn't really have a chance to decide what I wanted to do here off stream quite as much as perhaps I should have. Alright, other arm, okay. So, first things first, I'm gonna just fix a few little proportion things, kind of get that all settled in, and then I'll start thinking about the design again. I mean, so far, I think that the color balance here is pretty okay. I'm not sure how I feel about the sleeves yet. Yeah, not sure. I feel like I can do something better there. But I'm not quite sure what the answer is. Clothing design is hard. But I do like it a lot. So... one thing that I do know is, besides there being glitter here, I kind of want it to be frilly. So right now in my head, I'm kind of thinking of the direction. Potential direction of frill. So do I want it to go more... oh, wrong brush. More horizontally, like, I'll just try to scribble something real quick, but I need it to be clean enough that I can kind of see what I'm going for there. So I could potentially do it like that. That was actually not quite what I had in mind. Where I just kind of go around and we get an effect a little bit like this. Probably with something down the middle here where it would open up. So I could go for a pattern kind of like that, or... you know, I should be doing all this in separate layers. This way I can do A/B testing. Let's do it. Okay. So I'm gonna redraw that one. So we'll get this going down the middle here, and then little frilly pattern going through. So, you know, something like that. Or I could have it going a little bit more horizontally, where we'd get something like where it comes out of the middle here. And how it all connects. Oh. Okay, now we're good. So that would be a little bit more like this. And we're just doing it super quick and dirty here, so this way I can take a look. And I could even combine them if I was so inclined, where maybe up at the top they're vertical, at the bottom they're horizontal, I don't know. Let's just try some patterns, and right now I'm just kind of sticking with what I do know. So I know I want some frilly stuff here. So I'm doodling out some frilly stuff. And I also, for example... knew that I wanted this part at the bottom to be like this. Like, this was the part that I had the most clear in my head at the beginning. So I drew that, and now I can use this part that I definitely know to kind of balance things around elsewhere. And I think that's a good way to approach things. Just start with what you do know. Make that material. Make it make sense. And then maybe something will start coming. Okay. Okay, so I am gonna go do my digging through Google Images, and I'm just looking at dresses with a mermaid tail silhouette. So basically the style that I have drawn here, and I'm gonna go take a look and see what people have done with it. This silhouette does tend to be simpler. I do see some people do a lot of stuff with patterns and whatnot, but overall it does seem like they tend to be a little bit simpler. But frankly, Katya seems like someone that if she was going to wear something like this, she would be absolutely be showing off. So I want there to be a little bit more to it. Definitely. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Lacy stuff, huh? Okay. So we can see in my doodle here that I plan to have some kind of pattern around her stomach and leg area. And digging around through Google Images has given me a thought, so I'm gonna go explore that thought a little bit. Where's my trim layer? I think I'll just put it here. So I saw a dress with some kind of interesting lace patterns. This particular cut does not lend itself well to lace, and I do not want the area around her chest here to be translucent. I could probably get away with it. It would suit the kind of general style of the dress, but I don't think it suits her specifically. She seems like more the type that would prefer something a little bit more modest. So if I'm going to take that idea and modify it a little bit, because she does have some association with flowers, and instead of roses, I think I would use this flower. She's very proud of that flower. Almost. I'm pretty sure it's fictional. I'm not sure if it's based on a real flower, but it looks kind of like a spider lily to me. So we'll do that kind of theme. And I'll just make it all nice and curly because I like curly things. Do you have any idea how hard it is to resist my urge for just soft curls whenever I'm doing that style that I've been doing Phase Saga in? It's so hard. I love my friendly little curls. I think they're very nice. But I gotta be deliberate with my stylistic choices. It's worth it. But here I can be as curly as I want. And it's wonderful. I just kind of feel it out how I want it to be curved. And where I might put some of these things that I have in mind. Okay. So I got some vines. I'll make them thorny, but I'm not going to do it yet. It doesn't really matter. But I do plan for these to be thorny. And then in various places, I want there to be kind of that little flower. I need a better shot of it. Fortunately, it is very prominent on her character design. Okay, so it's somewhere between rose and spider lily. Makes sense. So we'll do rose patterns. Okay, in that case, I want the center to be not quite that big. And I'll just doodle it out. I think something like this could look nice. I don't want there to be too much gold on this. This part is supposed to be very much red, so I gotta be very careful with what I'm doing here. But I think we can put a few little flowers on there. Let me go look at what gave me the initial idea here. You know, I should have created this on a new layer. I keep saying that. Let's just go cut it out real quick. Okay. Yeah, I gotta remind myself. You know, when doing a bunch of design stuff, new layers. So this way it's nice and easy to experiment. Well, I'll call it lace, even though it's not very lacy. It's fine. So, not all of these will have flowers on them, but some of them will. Some of them will be flowery. And hopefully that'll still leave me with a decent balance of red here. Right now, I think the gold might be a little bit too heavy. So I'll probably need to kind of take some of it back here. Yeah, I don't think I like this one. And then I could just put in patterns as I see fit, more or less. And then okay, let's put on some little thorny parts just to see if that kind of fills in the rest that I think it needs. Or if I have to go do something else. It can be hard to know without actually seeing it. Oh, that's way too much. Okay, no, wait, too much thorn. Too much thorn, too much leaf. Let's put in some leaf. Leaves can be nice for this kind of thing, too. And I gotta make sure to put them in the right spots. Where is that? Well, I wish I knew. But if it feels right, it's probably fine. Sometimes things are just a little bit arbitrary. It's scary, but it's how it is. Everything will just be a little bit messy for the time being, and that's fine. For now. Everything's always a bit messy at the beginning. I think I can get something behind something like this, though. I think this looks pretty alright. Let me go give it some shadows. I don't think I have any gold shadow color right now. Yeah, I've just been... I haven't been shading it. It's not really important yet. I've been mostly paying attention to the shapes for the time being. Oh, gross. So I haven't been worried about light so much yet. You know, with certain exceptions, just because I need to know how things move, but... And that's exactly why we have the exception here, too, because I need to make sure that this actually looks good on things. And I'm not just making assumptions here. Okay. Idea solid. I just need to move some things around. It's okay. Liquefy to the rescue. Makes my life so much easier. Just push it all around and try things out until I'm happy. Better put you guys back in the light now that you're out of the shadow area again. It's fine. There we go. And then kind of implying that some continue further on onto her back. You know what? This part here, I think I'm gonna send it this way. Just gonna go down her leg here. Okay. You know what? I kind of like it. I think it's pretty alright. I do worry about it being a little bit too gold and not having quite enough red. Because admittedly, I kind of like the color, some of the color balance here. So I might just end up making it a lot thinner, but I think the idea is very solid, so I'm just going to leave it like that for now. There will be a lot to play with. And I do think a lot of it is going to involve much thinner lines than what I have right now. Like up here, I think I want to keep it thick. Down here, we're going to be very fine and very lacy, and it'll all be very nice. But I can see it now, so I like it. This is where I'm just debating. It's like, do I want to do anything with the gloves here? Do I want to... I know I want to change the sleeves. I don't really like the sleeves. I do feel like I need something there, but I don't know what, and it's all very confusing. But... and all of this is making me think that maybe I don't need the gold buttons up there. Maybe I can just make them black buttons instead. I also wouldn't mind taking in some of the gray from her eyes. I feel like I get a little bit of that in the sleeves. Through sheer coincidence, where these two colors look very similar. So, I mean, one's a little bit darker, but they do look kind of similar. I could probably bring these a little bit closer together to kind of help unify things a little bit more. And I also wouldn't mind finding a few places to put some white in, but that's hard. I don't know, maybe some white buttons? Let's find out. I'm going to use this pattern for a second to see how I feel about it. Oh yeah, white buttons actually look really good here, as long as I keep them very small. Yeah, as long as they're small, I think it's okay. And I doubt I like it out on the sleeves here. But I'll go poke it. No. I was briefly considering maybe having some kind of stripe thing going on here, but no, I don't think I like it very much. I could probably also do a lacy thing on the sleeves too. That might be nice. Kind of put this pattern here up on the sleeves. Let's take a look. We'll just keep it real messy for now. But yeah, I think that's pretty nice. Like I said, it's all going to be very fancy. It's a very fancy dress. And I will just keep it as the barest of scribbles for now. I want it to be a little bit less dense than that, so I'm just lowering the opacity on it slightly. I gotta I gotta do it separately over here, though. Okay, let's get the little flower in there. I haven't been putting on its little stamen coming out. That's fine. It'll get on there eventually. This is all just scribbles, but I like this kind of translucent cloth being very lacy. I think it looks really nice. I still don't know how I feel about this arm, by the way. I have no idea what to do with it. It's just hanging there. Hanging there all casual like. I think it's fine for it to be a little casual, but... God, I still hate it. Okay, well, you know what? Now that I have a little bit more going on it, I guess I can try some things again. I don't know, how's over here? Get that elbow a little bit higher, maybe a little bit more proportionate here. I guess that's okay. I'll probably end up moving it around, like, so much. I'll probably end up moving it around a lot. It's fine. I can deal. Let's go put you with the dress instead of up with the sleeve there. But I guess it's a little bit better like that. I think the elbow's still a little bit low, so I'll go ahead and move that too. Let's see. Let's see. Where are my layers? Here they are. They were hiding. Very rude of them. Okay. So, I'll just move this elbow up a little. I don't know, is that better? Get the trim in there now, too. I'm just gonna move it around a little. Man. I thought that the design would be the hard part of this, not where to position arm. It's just no matter where I put it, I hate it. Arms, man. Arms. There's a reason they're my nemesis. They never see that. They just dislike everything. There is no sense of joy in their hearts. Arms don't even have hearts. No, I don't really like it up there. Okay, let's go back down here. I think I prefer it off her body. Yeah, I should probably figure that out before I do any more. That seems important. Okay, you know what? Let me go look at the girls in the fancy dresses. Where are you putting your arm? Where are they going? Yeah, just kind of hanging off the side. It's like, am I overthinking it? Probably a little. But at the same time, I do think that where to put the arms and hands is pretty important to an overall pose. Okay, I think at one point I tried putting their hand on her hip instead, and I didn't really like it, but let's go try again. At this point, I've got nothing to lose. Oh no, we don't need that. We don't need that. Oh, right, because... There you go. You're supposed to be down there. Okay. I just went back a little bit too far, it's fine. Yes. Okay. So let's try hand on hip again. I do remember trying it and not liking it. Let's see if I can remind myself why I was not a fan. Or if it was just... I guess it's not too bad. Or maybe if I'll feel differently because I'm kind of exhausting a lot of the other options. I need it to go out just a little bit more. Okay. Come on out. Let's get that on there and see what happens. And we're just gonna pretend like the arm is connected right now. It's fine. Or that the hand is connected to the arm. It's totally fine. I'll fix it later. But I guess this is better than it hanging down at her side. I think I can live with this. I need it a little bit lower than that. I can live with this idea. Maybe not my execution of it, but yes. I think I can make this work. I was worried that it had maybe a little bit too much sass in it. I still kind of feel that way. But it's at least a little bit more of a power pose than with her arm just kind of hanging there, doing nothing, not really knowing what's going on. So, yeah, sure. I don't have any better ideas. Okay, and after looking at my frills on the top here, I do prefer vertical. I'm still not sure if this is the pattern I want to go with, but at the very least, this one is better than this one. So, that works for me. Alright. And then I'm looking at the white from the hair and the buttons here. I think the glitter is actually sufficient use of white for the bottom there. I don't think it needs anything in particular. We'll just pretend like she has some white in her shoes or something. But I think this amount of stuff is fine, and maybe I'll put a little bit of white on the glove. Alright, I'm gonna go back to kinda looking at dresses for a moment and see if I can figure out what I would like to do there. Because it's like, I do feel like it needs some amount of texture. It's a little bit too basic, just being a solid color. And I don't think I have enough complexity elsewhere to make me not want to have this be a little bit frilly. Also, I like frilly things. So, there you go. And I also kind of want to figure out what to do with the sleeves. I do see it is fairly common in big ball gowns like this. Well, this one isn't big, but in ball gowns, to have kind of super big frilly sleeve things going on. But I don't think that suits this design at all. Or they're just kind of freaking huge, kind of like that. But I don't think that really suits this design. Admittedly, I drew that, and I kind of actually dug the somewhat pointy shoulders. Makes her look a little devilish, but nah. Nah. Let's see here. On my arm right there, I'm gonna kind of tone that back a little bit, and let me go back and look at the super frilly sleeve again. I really don't think it suits her, but look, when I'm designing things, I gotta try things. I just gotta see it sometimes. Because maybe if I keep it a little bit smaller, it'll work out or something. But no, I don't dig it. I don't like it. I do think it can be quite pretty. But I just don't think something that extra really suits her. I could see something that makes her shoulders look bigger. I could see that working. But I don't think I can do the super puff sleeve. Being sleeveless is actually pretty common too, but that is, again, not actually something that I'm doing. Because I want to keep those translucent black sleeves here. I think that they look really fantastic, actually. Oh, yeah, and speaking of the translucent black sleeves, I want to go back to my sleeves layer because I'm pretty sure that I have this on the same layer, and this needs the same kind of lacy treatment. There we go. We'll leave it implied. The implication is sufficient for now. It's now just a matter of what do I want to put on her shoulders? What would I like to put there? I don't think a poofy princess sleeve works for her. I really don't. Okay, but given that we've got kind of the flower theme here, what if I turned them into flowers? I'm also not sure how I feel about the cape back there. You can barely see it, but I might get rid of it. I liked the idea. You can see it more clearly back there, but... Okay, so what if I turned them into small flower shape? We'll just pretend like this is going over the sleeve right now. You know, maybe, since I'm doing design stuff anyway, maybe I should just put it on top. That's fine. That seems like a good idea, actually. There we go. And then I can kind of do the shape that I want. I'll make it into a little flower. The inside, maybe a little bit of gold at the center for that the lighter part that shows on there. And let's get some shadows, so this way I can kind of understand the petals a little bit better. Okay, that actually looks pretty nice. And then maybe some white. No, white's a bad idea. Black? Because there's these little stamen coming out of there, but, no, I hate pretty much every color I'm using. Art is hard. I don't know, does the white look okay? No, it calls way too much attention to itself, but the gold doesn't really work either. Gold is way better though, so maybe I'll start there. Perhaps. I'll leave it there for now. I'm not sure how I feel about the little statement coming out. It's entirely possible that I just have nothing. You know what? I think I'll just leave it with nothing for now, and I will worry about designing it later. But I kind of like the little flower-shaped thing going on there. So let's go put it on the other side too. Oh. Let's go put it on this side too. It's a little bit shorter like this. That is fine. I was not very attached to the length of the sleeves or anything for the moment. There we go. Just have nice little flower. Little flower-shaped sleeves. Works for me. We're being very flower-themed suddenly. Okay. I think I want to make the one over here just a little bit bigger. Okay. Yeah, I can get behind that. I think that looks pretty alright. Once this has thinner lines, I think that'll look pretty good. And I think I might let's revisit this cape here. So this is the same amount of translucency as everything else. I'll go ahead and put the flower pattern on it too. I don't think I can do it like that. No, I can't. That's okay. And I'll just scribble it on real quick here. It'll be very, very scribbly, because, you know, it doesn't really matter that much for the time being. It's all good. Everything starts out pretty messy. I just want to make sure that it looks okay. But no, increasingly, I think I prefer it without the cape. So, we're gonna ditch the cape. I guess it was kind of nice to have this area a little bit darker. I mean, I've never... I don't have a problem with people lurking. Just lurk, if you want to lurk. It's all good. Just the fact that people want to come here and see what I'm doing means a lot. Let's see here. No, I actually really like the way that it makes this just a little bit darker. Okay, that's interesting. Cape was pulling more heavy weight than I thought it was. Making the window around her back just a little bit less intense. I guess I could put a tree there instead. Let's see then. Okay, so I have a couple of choices then. I do like the way that the cape was muting just how bright this part of the window was down at this part. It's like I want to keep most of the focal point up here by her face. And the minute that I removed the nodes here, the layers that had the cape, suddenly this sticks out way more. It's much more clear in like the thumbnail, for example, where here is suddenly a lot brighter. And this is what it was like before, where the lighting was a lot more muted through here, and I think it brought more attention up here. But there's a few different ways I can get that effect. Okay, let's go ahead and try to put a tree over there, and I'll see how that works out. Okay, where's my brush? I'm just gonna use the leaf brush for now. It's a very, very quick way to block in these things. Okay, so there we go. I got a tree back there now. How do I feel about the cape? Do I feel like it adds more to the outfit, or does it take away? I can say now with the dark tree there, it has the same kind of effect. So I can actually take a step back and see how I feel about it from a design standpoint as opposed to a compositional standpoint. No, I dig it as the design element. Okay. I am gonna get rid of the tree then. I might put a little bit of tree back there, but I would rather figure out what the heck to do with the cape here. Because I want to give it a little bit more presence if I'm going to have it exist. And let's see, this I'm going to go ahead and just plop in shadow. So a little bit more subtle on the detail. It needs something, and I fear the pattern is too much. That's always kind of the weird thing about character design. It's just balancing all the elements together. It can be very tricky. Let's go put in some glitter. Because, you know, a glitter very much makes everything better. It does. Always. Glitter is fantastic. Gotta be sparkly. Okay, that's not bad. I told you, glitter makes everything better. Alright, and I guess going on that logic, do I want a little bit of cape over here? Maybe have it a little bit longer even. Let it hang off those rose sleeve things. Okay, that's going out a little bit too far. I'm just trying to find a nice way to frame her in all of this, while still making the nice little elements of the tail of the dress here. Oh, nice. All nice, all interesting. Okay, I'm gonna start putting glitter on all the things that I think needs glitter. No, please select opaque. There we go. Unfortunately... Oh, I didn't put the glitter on a different layer. Whoops. I probably should have... let's go make a proper glitter layer. Let's go do that before I forget again. It's okay, my brain is running a lot, so it's only natural that I start getting really absent-minded. It's thinking about many a thing. Oh, and it would help if I had the right color. There we go. Alright, let's go start plopping glitter on things. And maybe once there's sufficient sparkle in everything, I'll just feel great about everything, and all my problems will be done. I choose to believe. Alright, then on to the sleeves. Let's see here. I would think I want this on top of the lace, so... No. I want it underneath. Okay. I was thinking about... Do I want my little rose patterns here to block any glitter, or do I want the glitter to be on top of it? And at first... I thought it might be nice for it to be on top of it, but I actually think having just a few little areas of more solid black might look nice. And I'm also realizing maybe I don't want glitter on this part. It's weird to say, but maybe I don't, actually. I'll try to think about how to describe why I think that perhaps I don't actually want glitter on that. Okay. So, alright, I got a couple more places to glitterize. One moment. I forgot the neck again. There we go. Much better. So, I'm just trying to think of why I might not want glitter here. Right now I have glitter on pretty much everything black. The gloves are not getting glitter. But I realized that the things that I'm putting glitter on are the things that are a little bit translucent. And I think that looks pretty cool. And when I look at it here, having all this glitter on this, I think is making her sleeves look less glittery. And I think that's kind of sad. So I think I'm actually going to get rid of the glitter there. And yeah, right away, that looks better to me. So we already got the white parts in the buttons going down here. And now her sleeves look extra sparkly. Because what makes something look like more whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, just more, is contrast. Not just putting more on there. So I think that having this little muted spot here is actually making everything else look more intricate and sparkly. So you know what? I think I will just keep this as just a little bit frilly with simple buttons, and we'll let everything else have all the complexity. Incidentally, it's a similar reason to why I decided not to give her a hat. She will be having a little hair piece holding this in place. I haven't drawn it yet. We're not going to see a lot of it. Just, you know, it's on the back of her head and we're seeing the front of her head. So we don't see a lot of that stuff, but I kind of want to give a hint that it's there. And I also need to find a place to put the actual flower. I know on the suit end, I'm probably going to make it, you know how you normally have the flower on the chest? That's where I'm going to put it. But I'm not quite sure for a dress like this. Where do you put flowers on that? My first thought was in her hair. That's probably where I'll put it. So in terms of design, about the only thing I'm considering is, do I maybe want to put a little bit of white on the gloves? But other than that, I think that this is okay. Between that and figuring out where to put her flower. Gotta have the flower. Cannot go to an intrigue ball without your hallucinogens, right? No, that's just wrong. So, we definitely gotta have the flower. But... let's see. Hello there, Sir Sprout. Welcome back. Just kind of finishing up some character design. I got most of it down. Just a couple of final decisions to make. Oh yeah, and I have to design her mask too. I haven't done that. Ooh. Masquerade masks. Those are always something. A character card. In what sense? There's lots of context that could be used in. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go see if I can put the flower in her hair. I have confirmed that I like this hairstyle. So I'm gonna go kill all of my alts. There we go. This way I don't just have a million layers hidden, because that kind of stuff drives me nuts. I see, okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were referring to a literal trading card kind of thing, or if it was something else. Oh yeah, I like where this one's going. I think it'll be pretty cool once it's all done. I think I'll probably do the design that I wanted to do on the other half before I go and render this one, and then I'll render them together. Basically, my plan here was I couldn't decide if I wanted to put her in a suit or a dress, so this side is going to be the dress, and then this side is going to be the suit. I decided to do them both. I didn't want to choose. So, I'm just figuring out the composition for all this, and then I'm gonna duplicate everything over to the other side. I will only draw the background once, though. The background will be a perfect mirror. I'll probably only draw the face once, too. I am designing them, so I just think they suit her. Her design is over here. So I just kind of based it on that. And now it's just down to the last few elements. Okay. So let's see here. Do I want some kind of pattern on this? No, I don't want glitter. I also consider trying to put her a casino theme in here, but I think at this point I have gone too far the flower motifs to go back. No, I don't think I want any pattern on the gloves. I think what I'm gonna do is just have some lighter kind of seams going across it. I think that'll do the same thing. Okay, right down here. I think that'll do the same thing. No, I think I just preferred solid black. Okay. It's okay, you know, there has to be some areas that are a little bit more muted to make everything else look grand. So that'll be what these gloves are for. And maybe at most, all I'll do is make them just a little bit frilly. And I'll put the trim on the gloves instead of on the sleeve. Sounds good to me. They'll be just a little bit frilly, and then I can go into my various trim layers and just put the trim on the edge of the glove instead of what I had before. There we go. That works. Okay. Alright, let's go put the flower in her hair now. She's got to have that little flower. Very important. So I think... Where do I want to put it? Maybe just as like a hairpin right here. I'm just going to scribble it for now. I think it's about that size. Yeah, that seems about right. Maybe a little smaller. There we go. I just had a little bit of a character design bugging me, so I was like, you know, let's go design something. I like designing fancy dresses, so let's go design a fancy dress. Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. That's the only place I use that color there, though. How do I feel about that? Yeah. Flamenco dresses do tend to have a similar silhouette, yeah. I do enjoy this kind of silhouette. I think that they look really nice, especially on people with really long legs, which she does. So, that's what made me think of this design to begin with. Right now I'm just debating on whether or not I'm okay with the only place in the design using this blue being the flower here. And right now I'm thinking yes. I don't even know where else I'd put it. I guess I could potentially, let's see. If I go back to my top group here. If I go ahead and just put a little bit of blue running down this. Just on either side of those buttons. Does that look good? I think so. And then I can put a little bit on the gloves too. Look, it just drives me nuts when you use one color in one spot and like nowhere else. Let's see, I could use the seam idea that I kind of had before. Or maybe just a little pattern on the back of the hand. I'd have to think about what kind of pattern would go there, but yeah, I kind of like something a little muted there. I think a nice little muted pattern might look nice. I'm just kind of thinking about what kind of pattern, like what kind of things do I use in this? It's basically all flower, so I don't know, do I just put more flower here? Yeah, sure. I think it works for me. All right, now I just have a mask to design. And there's a lot of things you can do with a masquerade mask. I think I'm actually going to hold off for a second because what I would like to do is have everything here, or have the mask be able to match what I plan to do for the suit side too. So let's actually go design that now. Let's get rid of my doodles. Where do I have my doodles? Oh, they're up at the top this time. Okay. There we go. All right, because I had to have the background in there. Okay. Okay, it'll come back. I had to pull shenanigans to make this work. There we go. So it'll end up being kind of like that in the end. Just, with a completely different design on the other side. So let's start getting that in there. The background, I will leave the same. I like the mirroring too. The borders are on the outside. That is good. Let's see. I need to make sure I have everything just cleared out of here. Okay, there we go. I didn't want anything bleeding over onto that side. Okay, so I've had some thoughts for this, and I am going to need to reference many a thing. It's okay. Designing stuff is fun. So, a few things that I do know. I actually don't know a lot of the colors I want. Like, do I want it to be mostly black or mostly red? That kind of thing I haven't quite figured out yet. But I do know that I want it to be long and dramatic. So, we're gonna go over the top on certain parts of the design here, so let me kind of clear some layers that I know will not be relevant here. Not going to be glitter on this one. As much as glitter makes everything better, I don't think it works quite as well on more masculine designs. Okay. I'd call it black, not dark blue, but yes. And definitely way less than 20% white. It is at most 5. But it's okay, that's also intentional. Alright. So I'm gonna start clearing the things that I know won't exist here. I'll keep the top on there for now just because I don't know what's underneath it and I fear YouTube, so I'll leave it like this for now. Oh, at her model, okay. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, there's not going to be a cape on this one. And here, before I get confused as to which group is which, I definitely should collapse this side just so I don't start randomly deleting things there and wondering what's happening and forget, because that sounds like it would be very sad. Okay. Let me see, is this a good time to start? Alright, so what I'm thinking about right now is I do want them to be very close mirror images of each other. And I'm asking myself, if I do that, should I hold off on designing the other one now and just start rendering the dress side here, just so that this way, when I move over here, I will have a more exact copy of what's going to be over there to draw on. Ooh, that's a tough choice. That actually is tough. Not looking for advice, I'm just talking to myself. Don't worry about it. Because there's kind of two ways that I could go about this. Let me see if I can articulate myself here. So, I do tend to like having just the entire composition done before I really start rendering. And if you ignore half of it here, so if we just get rid of that for a second, I do think that that is a pretty complete thing compositionally. Because especially when I go put my lighting back on and stuff, I think that this is a very complete composition. This looks fine. But I do plan to add another part to it, and that'll be there. And with the way I render things, I'm probably not going to get a perfect mirror image. I don't plan to change the pose or anything. I do plan to kind of keep it like that. So, I mean, it's, It is a fairly feminine pose. I mean, the purpose of drawing the suit is not to be like a gender swap or anything. It is literally just to be a lady in a suit. Still going to be a fairly feminine suit. Clearly meant for a lady and not a man. Exactly. Kind of like OG fashion adjacent. but large parts of the silhouette are going to change. So it comes into question how much of what I have on the other side would even be able to be kept. And the biggest thing making me want to do a lot of the design stuff now is just, I want to make sure that the silhouette looks good in the background. Because one thing I talked about a little while ago was that the cape, it's very translucent, barely visible, but it is doing a surprising amount of work compositionally. Because, like, if I take it away, suddenly we get a bright spot right here. And while it doesn't look terrible, I think it detracts from her face a little bit. And kind of brings your eyes down here, and I don't want that. It looked so much better when I put the cape back on. So that was part of the reason I kept it. And I'm wondering, will I have to do something like that over here, too? So I think I'm going to get the basics of the design down. But I'm probably going to have to pull some shenanigans when it comes time to actually render it all. But I kind of expected that. Anytime I'm doing a mirror image anything, I always kind of expect to have to pull some shenanigans, just due to how I draw. So yeah, let's go ahead and get some of the design work done. Alright. So I'm going to start with some things that I know for sure. And that's... I don't really know colors yet. I do know that for the hair, though, I want it to be a long braid instead of updo, like it is on the feminine side. Or the dress side, I should say. They're both going to be feminine. And the flower is going to go on the chest instead of on her hair. I'll go plop it over here. Gotta be, one of those nice little lapel flowers. So that's another thing I know. I'm just gonna start with what I know. It's a good way to be. Come on. Come on. Stop thinking I'm letting go when I'm not. So I'm gonna bring this down here. It's gonna go kind of behind her neck instead. And we'll make it rose-like. I'll probably still keep the various rose and flower motifs. I want them to be kind of reflections of each other, so that works for me. Alright. And then it'll... Okay, I need the flower to go a little bit further to the side there. I do not want our hair to be defying gravity that hard. There we go. So it'll all kind of come down like that, and it'll all kind of bunch in. And then we're just gonna have all this hair kind of come over her shoulder. I'm gonna have to put the flower on the other side. That's fine. This flower, that is. Because, yes, I want the braid to be going over the shoulder. And it's just gonna kind of come down like that. I'll let it cover the hand, it's fine. The hand's not that important. And we're gonna get something like this. Her hair is like knee length, it's absurd. But I think I can make it whatever length I want. And I want it to be a nice, big, thick, juicy braid coming out of that flower. I'm even gonna make it a little bit bigger, I think. I'll say that's why her hair's a little bit shorter than it is in her actual design. It's because of, more of it is balled up into this shape. Okay. Sounds good to me. Here we go. And then we'll have just little tail at the end here. Where all the hair kind of loosens up afterward. Okay, here's that, and then I'm just gonna need some black in there. Let's see, how do I want to handle that? I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to alternate little black groups here. There's just gonna be a periodic little black spot, and then one of the things down there will be there. There we go. That looks like a two-toned hair being woven together. In a messy way, of course. But, you know, everything starts messy. It's fine. Right now, I just got to scribble down my ideas. Let's see. So, flower goes over here. I want it to be sitting out on her chest a bit more, so I'm going to be changing the shape a little. Be a little bit bigger, though. It's not sitting on her chest yet. That's fine. It's gonna go over there somewhere. Alright. And now I need to channel my best my best Yana Toboso impression here. So let's go ahead. I am going to go look up some references for this. So as for general aesthetics here, we're going for OG fashion, Black Butler, and Victorian fashion. Yes. They're all roughly very similar, but those are the things. So I'm just gonna go take a look around. Okay. Immediate thoughts. I'm gonna keep this group, except this part is gonna be red now. Oh yeah, and I should go look up what female suits look like, just to give myself a general idea here. The big thing is just that they tend to have a little bit more of a cinched waist than what you'd expect in men, I think. Correct. Okay. I wanted to double check that. All right. And then here, we're gonna get some of the black. And it's gonna change a shape a little. It's gonna be kind of going over top like that. Okay, I think I'm kind of seeing the vision now. Will not have the flower sleeve. No. Okay, and I think I'm just probably going to draw the sleeve directly on this layer rather than putting it somewhere else. I think that'll be easier in this case. Oh no, that one's going to need that because I do want to keep that separate. Never mind. Okay, sleeve out here. It'll be black, long, considerably less glitter. And I think the glove there is going to be both a different color and also not frilly. But I do, let me see, that lace pattern is not going to be there. I did not get rid of that the first time through. That's fine. So I wanted this kind of shape. I wanted it to be a super extra. Long. and just kind of going down. Let me see, okay, yeah, I'm good. I need to see the legs underneath. I'm pretty sure I did not erase them my first time through. So, I can't really see them right now, so let's fix that. I'll invert the colors for a moment. It's all good. Just so I can see a little bit better. Okay, and now I can kind of trace over where the legs are going to be. This is where the pose of the legs is going to end up being way more important. But we'll get something like that. I'll refine it a little bit better here. Oh, there we go. I think that looks decently sharp already with just simple stuff going on. I'm not quite sure how I want to put the legs yet. That's fine. I'll figure it out. I'm not going to worry about it right now. I don't want to draw legs. I am so not feeling the leg drawings right now. I will need to figure it out before too long. And actually, you know what? I think I want the legs to be on a separate layer so that this way I could happily flail when the time comes. Come on. Stop double-clicking. Thank you. Okay. And for now, I'm just gonna leave them in my shadow color. You have too many layer effects on to color pick. There we go. Okay. Oh yeah, I'll hammer out the pose in a little bit. I probably should do that before too long, but I don't want to right now, so I'm not going to. Alright, I did briefly consider giving her white gloves, but no, that actually, within that society, I believe has implications. It's a little bit too butlery. So, instead, we're gonna give her red gloves. And they will not be frilly. And they will be tucked in to the sleeve there. The sleeve is gonna be a bit longer than that. I will adjust that when the time comes. So yes, that looks fantastic. I think that's exactly what I want for this. No frills. All red. There we go. Probably just cotton. Something basic. It's not going to be shiny or anything, just simple things for simple people. And right now, this isn't nearly fancy enough. So I will definitely need to mess with that. But I do think that this is an excellent start. The color balance, I think, is pretty well on point. But one thing that I knew I wanted to do for the legs is I wanted to make this pattern, but in pants. I like that kind of pattern. So, I think it's time to figure out leg pose. I'm still really not feeling leg, but sacrifices must be made for art. And I think that's the next element of design that I should really get into. Okay, so I need to figure out how low this goes. It's going to cover most of her waist, I think. So just looking at the design on the other side, probably to about there. Yeah, so far so good. so far so good. I think her neck actually feels a bit long. It was fine over here because I put something on the neck. But I don't have such a thing here. Maybe I should. It could have like a weird collar thing going around it. I'll think about it. I want to get the legs. I need to stop being distracted. Okay. I am gonna go put the body back to inverted colors again. Because I have the slightest hints of what I thought the pose was going to be. I'm pretty sure I have the knees a little bit too. It didn't matter for over here. It matters a lot for over here. Okay, no, I'm making this too hard. What I'm gonna do instead, I am going to have 2 leg layers. We're gonna have the front leg and the back leg. And I am gonna draw them on separate layers to make my life easy. And I am gonna start with the back leg. So, with the kind of pose that I have, basically what's happening is that one is kind of coming this way and bending and going down, and the other is just kind of straight. Look at my lovely stick figure legs with how more correct everything else is. It's beautiful. So I'm going to start with the leg that's kind of going straight. So that'll be the leg connected at the hip on this side. The one kind of going back. So it's just going to be kind of straight. It's just kind of coming this way. I am just feeling out a good angle. And I want to make sure that she feels nice and stable because of this leg. Because this is the leg that'll be holding up most of her weight. And then I need to make sure I get hips in there, and oh god. This was the part that I was afraid of. At the beginning, I tried to draw the body more thoroughly, but I ended up kind of mangling it, as I always do. And that's because at some point I knew in my heart that I was going to need to draw the entire leg because she was going to be wearing pants. And now I am suffering for my laziness. Okay, I'm gonna go take my dress. We're gonna bring it up for a second so this way I can steal where the legs are. Okay. So I got the leg kind of coming back here. Where's her hip? Right about there. I get the feeling this is gonna look weird for a bit, but that's okay. I can handle it. Alright, and now to feel out what's happening with this leg. So I have it. There's a shadow there, so it tells me that the knee is kind of going to over here. And then it's curving like this. This was kind of how I planned it. And right now, everything looks way off. That's okay. That's okay. I will fix it. And it's gonna be a little bit different from what's on the other side, unfortunately. By my own incompetence, mostly. But it's okay. Hopefully, when it comes to the final version, I'll be able to get it a little bit more exact. But frankly, I don't think it's too important to be completely exact. Knee is feeling okay. Legs still feel quite long. This is going to be where her calf is. I'll go ahead and draw it, even though it's not going to be in the final version, but it'll help me figure out the leg proportions. So I will acknowledge the calf muscles for now. No, my characters must be strong. And frankly, even by how I normally do, she's actually pretty skinny. I'm sure she'd hate me for it, but I wanted to show those lovely elven features. Okay. So, let's see. I think I can push this a little bit to the right here. And I'm gonna go ahead and put a shadow here just, so I don't drive myself crazy with the top part of the suit there. I still think I have this... Okay. Legs look fine. I'm gonna leave them separate for now. And now, let's see, I think I want this to cut just a little bit higher up. Ah yes, my characters must be strong. I like making them very strong. Maybe not quite so long. That's too short. Look, choices are hard, okay? I have a light vision, but it is very, very light still. Okay. Now, we're gonna make the legs fancy! Yes! Gotta be so ridiculously fancy. Okay. And so this is where I undo kind of everything that I just did. And that's fine. I'm gonna do it on another layer because I'm scared. Leg fancy. Okay. So there we go. I kind of want the legs to flare out very, very strongly. It's gonna look weird for a little bit, but trust. Okay, so there we go. Nice big old flares there. Now... I'm considering how I want to handle this. Okay. Leg frill. So, what I plan to do is within this, we're gonna have it open up to this red spot here. And much like I did on this side, there's gonna be some frills in there. But they will be contained within the pant legs here. And I'll just draw it really roughly for now. I think that's fine. And then there's gonna be some... Do I want some that are black? Maybe a little. Let's find out. Let's see how I feel about it. We'll bring you down to the 65% I'm putting all the other stuff at. And I will just kind of plop them in here. And then trim. I do want these to be kind of reflections of each other. So having the proper detail there is actually kind of important. So something like that, just, you know, better. But the better is for later. This is fine for now. God, I'm gonna have so many freaking leg layers. This is gonna drive me nuts. Let's go put them in a group so I can collapse them all together later. Okay. And this one, I'll imply that the leg is at a slightly different angle. I might end up making this bigger. I haven't decided yet. We'll see. I don't think it matters that much. What are you? Are you something in the legs? No. Okay, so there's something I forgot to erase right there because there's like a little bit of residue. I'm not sure what it's from. Okay, something in the body. Which would make me think it's the legs. Okay, no, it's the suit. There we go. Residue gone. Let's go back to messing with leg. Okay, so there we go. Something like that. And I'll just put some a basic trim for this just out there. It'll be something like that. I think I like it. And then from there, I realize that I think that underneath all of the underneath the suit here, it might be nice to have a little belt. I'll keep my reference of the dress in there. No, I think I'm gonna kill it. I will keep something like that there for the final version, but for now, nah. Okay, so there we go. We got belt. It'll be gold and flowery shaped. And I think this might be where I put in some of the white here. For the center of the flower shape on the belt there. Okay. And then I want some buttons coming down here. Probably one or two. And once again, that they will be vaguely flower shaped. And they will just be scribbled on for now, but they're going to be vaguely flower shaped. So we'll get something like that, and you know what? I think this needs some shadows. This way I can see where things are turning. I'm having a hard time reading certain things right now. Okay. I don't want it to look too butlery. That's important. I also don't want it to look too modern. Okay. I was also considering doing something like this for the sleeves, but I think that might be a little bit too extra. So I think I'll do something else for the sleeves. I'm not sure what yet, but I'll figure it out. And once again, I want some little white buttons going down there. And I do feel like there needs to be something on the neck there. I don't think I want a tie. No, I don't think I want a tie, but some kind of thing there might be good. I also could see myself putting some necklaces and stuff on this one, and possibly on this one too. I feel like suits are a little bit more minimalist, so I might not go quite as hard on that. So I'm gonna go scour Google like I normally do when I am looking for thoughts. It depends. In modern suits, very much yes. In Victorian suits and OG fashion, no, not necessarily. Just because it's very much inspired by that. And if you think of like French or English royalty in the, I don't know, let's just pick an era. Like, Victorian, I think, is 1800s. But even before then, like 1600s. You don't picture the same thing that you picture in modern male fashion. And that's what this kind of fashion is inspired from. And also, it's meant for women, which, by default, will always be just way more over the top. Because girls like to be pretty. What's considered stylish in men and women is very different. Oh man, this one actually does have cascading sleeves. That's neat. I don't think it's what I want here, though. It's okay, this is what makes fashion design fun. I just gotta really think about what I actually want to do with it. Ooh. Okay, there's an idea. So one thing I don't have drawn here yet is like some kind of lapel. I wasn't thinking too hard about it. But I have a thought now. We're gonna carry over some flower motif stuff. I'm not sure if this is gonna look good, but let's find out. So, I was thinking something gold with flower shapes. This is why I said I wasn't sure if it was going to look good. Because I'm not quite sure where I'm taking it. No, lapel has to be a little bit more angular than that. It doesn't work. I need a shape more like that. I don't know if I want to keep this kind of shape exactly. But you can see that the shapes on it are very, very straight. Whereas when I was thinking something a little bit more flower adjacent, I was putting kind of petal shapes around it. But I just don't think it works. I don't think it works with curved lines. I don't think it necessarily has to be this shape. I also don't think it necessarily has to be gold. I'm not quite sure what color it should be. I don't know, do I like the idea of an ascot or something? Let's find out. So, that would probably be white. I'll probably just go with a similar design as the one that's on her actual character design there. Okay, I have a thought. Once again, I am trying to carry over a lot of the other elements that I have on the other one. And so something that would let me have a little bit more transparent black might be good. So I got it here and now potentially up here. And it's something gold. Flower-shaped, of course. I could probably get behind that. Do I want it to be more of a trench coat? I don't think so. I think I like the pattern with it being very tight around the waist and then kind of going out. I just have to decide what kind of patterns I want to put on it. Like, maybe something like this again. In which case, this should not be gold. I think I can actually make that red if I'm covering up most of the shirt. The main reason I didn't want it to be red before was because the shirt was red. Yeah, I think I can. Tricky. Maybe. On the edge instead? I don't know. I don't think I like the red there, actually. Okay. That's... Unfortunately for a lot of this stuff, it's largely a feel and just what personally appeals to me. So I can't necessarily explain why certain design elements feel right to me, and why some don't. But I do want this to feel about as fancy as this one. Right now it kind of doesn't. Character design is hard. This might be one where I revisit it a little bit next time. Yeah, that'll just be Saturday, so that's not too far away. And then I can potentially more familiarize myself with OG fashion. Yeah. So, you know what? I think I'm gonna take a break from design, and I'm gonna go render some dress here. Okay. We're gonna start with the face. Right now, she is looking way too elegant and calm, so I gotta get that mischievous spirit back in there. So I'm gonna go work on her expression a little bit. Oh yeah, that's right, I was experimenting with eyebrow types. No. I like the angled eyebrows. This might be one where I have to let the eyebrows show through the hair. Because I think if I put it above the hair, oops, not the eyelashes, the eyebrows. I think come on, stop it. Thank you. I think the expression reads a little bit more clearly. Okay. Yeah, and I remember the way I was talking about it last time, where I said that I think it would read a little bit more clearly once her eyelashes were coming down like this instead of up. Why is my pen not drawn correctly? Please stop it. Because I think that this will make her eyes look a little bit more narrowed. Let me test that theory before I start rendering things too hard. Which way did they go here? How would I draw them if they were going up? That way. So no, they should be going this way. No, it still doesn't quite read. Okay. So, I wanted to make her eyes look a little bit narrow. No, that change was fine. A little bit narrowed. So let's do it a little bit harder here. Like, she knows something, and it should make you a little nervous. That's the kind of expression I want. She's clearly plotting against you. So just kind of the narrow eyes. And kind of a subtly mischievous smile. She's not being super overt about anything. But nonetheless, whoever she's talking to here is probably in for a pretty bad time. That is the kind of feeling I want. No, she's not smiling. I could see something like that working. But, like, that tends to be for more crazy smiles. Like, I can show it real quick here. Like, it could work. I don't want the smile to be really crazy. Like, that just immediately... That just immediately exaggerates it hard. Like... It's not the right kind of eye narrowing. It has an extreme disconnect with the narrowness of the upper part there. And I do think a lot of that is going to come from the mouth, so... Let's take a look. Let's see. What kind of smile is this? Kind of an unpleasant one. Okay, I think the main thing is that it just needs to be a little bit more of a smirk. So it needs to be a little bit more lopsided. And maybe a little bit more triangular, actually. I had the right idea in using more straight lines, but I think I needed to make it a little bit more triangular. So... Right now, she looks a little bit too calm. Oh, wrong layer. I'm not sure if this is quite right, but it's close. I think it might be easier just to redraw it, honestly. Okay. I'm not gonna... Actually, you know what? Let's keep this pattern. And... I'll move this to another layer. Just so that this way I can keep the nose, and I'll try again. And I'll see if this particular idea works a little bit better. Let's see. This is absolutely not in the right spot. No, this isn't quite working either, honestly. Because I don't really want it to be open. Like, she's not saying anything. Make her look so bored. Anyway. Maybe start with this side then. Because I don't want it to look too wide either. Just like she knows something. She knows something, and whatever it is she knows is not going to make you happy. No, that's not quite doing it either. Is it just because it's messy, or is... No, it's not quite right. I should note that either way, I think the chin is a little bit long, and so I'll have to fix that. So let's ignore the length of the chin for now, it's fine. That's definitely more unpleasant, but it's still the wrong kind of unpleasant. Maybe I just need some teeth. Maybe some teeth, and then... just a little bit more of a smirk to it. You know what, before I change anything about this, I'm gonna duplicate the layer because I don't trust myself. I kind of want the one where I feel like I'm halfway there. To remain as a place where I can always go back and restart from. It makes me feel much less nervous about experimenting. Oh yeah, that looks pretty unpleasant. Okay. Then I'll get a little bit of teeth in there. I'll go ahead and use the white from her hair as a tooth color. Okay, yeah, there we go. I was close the first time through. I think that's about what I want. And it's nice and subtle, and I appreciate that. Maybe Katya herself doesn't have much subtlety, but it's okay. I'll let her pretend just for this picture. Okay, I'm gonna push the head down just a little bit here. Because I think her neck is a little bit long. And then it'll give me a little bit more room to push her chin up a little. There we go. Just so her face doesn't look quite so long. Alright, and I do want to fix her neck there. It is also a little bit thick. I guess to be fair, the artist that I'm referencing for a little bit of design or shading inspiration here does tend to draw kind of thick necks. But I think, for how I'm drawing here, I think the neck is a little bit too thick. Okay. Yeah, you can kind of see the before and after. I'm glad that I had the duplicate layer over there. But it's really small, but the difference, I think, is very much noticeable. Alright, and this is where things are going to get interesting. Because I would like to reference the artist that drew all these things that I have surrounding here for some shading experiments. Yes, as much as I can. They're gonna be pretty much the same. And I think I'm gonna hold off on designing the mask until I finish designing the suit here. So let's just go ahead and start rendering a face. So let's see. Hello, friend. How do your faces look? Okay. So I guess this is where I start the analysis of how I feel like this artist handles stuff. I talked about it a lot in the first episode. I do plan to separate that out into a video at some point, but let's see. I want some room to derp. So I'm going to go hide the suit side for a second here. And I am going to make a doodle layer. So let's look at how this lady's face is structured. I've already talked about the proportions a little bit. And I'm still keeping a lot of my personal choices for proportions. In that I make the eyes a little bit bigger. So you can see my eyes relative to the face are a little bit bigger. And I also make the mouth a little bit bigger. My mouths are pretty big for anime girls. Anime girls tend to have pretty tiny mouths. But I don't know. I think they're more expressive when they're a little bit bigger. So, still gonna keep that. But I want to look at what this artist does overall. So, I talked about the proportions a little bit in that first episode, where her eyes are about halfway down the head, And the hair vents stick up really high. I think the top of her head is actually right about here. So those hair vents really go. Dude loves hair vents. But yes, eyes about halfway down. And then if we divide the rest of the face here, you can see that the nose, I think, is about halfway, a little bit less than halfway, between the tip of the chin and the eyes. So if I just kind of look for the midway point between here, I think it's right about there, like just underneath it. It's actually pretty dang close to halfway through. And then a little bit less than halfway between the nose and the chin, we get the mouth. So but here it looks like, yeah, the top of the head is, her hair is being pulled tight, so I don't have a bunch of hair vents. And it is true. It is important to be cool and to have, you know, a half of your body weight in hair when you're an anime girl. Very important. And hair vents give you a great excuse to just add ridiculous volume to the hair. So we got about halfway there. I think my nose is maybe a little bit long. I observed that he had a tendency to make noses a bit longer than you'd expect for your average anime girl, and I think I just overdid it. I made the nose a little bit too long. Okay. So I'm just going to place the features a little bit more correctly now. I still feel like there's a little bit of a potato feeling in her face, which is not something that you want in your faces. Spuds do not belong in the face. So I'm going to figure out what's causing that. Okay, I think I know what it is. I think I just need to push you out a little bit here. Just rotate that eye. I have some characters that I explicitly describe as having a potato face. So, basically, when you think of a face, you're probably thinking something vaguely shaped like this, where you got a cone on a circle or something. Well, let me draw that a little better. You know what? I'm going to make my life easy, and I'm going to use symmetry. Okay, come here. Taking this doodle way too seriously, but I want to practice drawing faces fast, so this works. Okay, so there we go. You get a shape kind of like this. And then you can refine it and make it look nice from there. When I think of potato heads, I'm thinking of something kind of like this, where the cheeks are a little bit more jowly. And it just looks like they protrude out a little bit more. Or everything is so ridiculously round. Yeah. Or everything is so ridiculously round that it just it ends up looking kind of potato-y. This one doesn't look that potato-y, but the big thing is just that the cheeks kind of go out. This is super exaggerated, but yeah, the cheeks just kind of go out. And when I look here... there's just something about the way her cheeks are over here, and to a lesser extent over here, that just ends up looking a little bit weird. And thus it makes me think of a potato. So one thing I have to do, because I just like making the eyes a little bit bigger than usual, is I typically place them a little bit closer together. So normally people recommend having about one eye's width between the eyes. I have a little bit less than that. And this is true for anime girls too, by the way. Unless you want to make your character look 5, in which case you can probably get away with a little bit less. But generally, an eye, or maybe even a little bit more, is a standard for your average anime girl too. Okay. And I want this to frame her face a little bit more nicely. I think I might honestly put the back hair on a separate layer just so I stop having to pull all these shenanigans. I am getting sick of pulling shenanigans with the hair. I think this part is actually supposed to be in the front, though. What's her character look like again? Yeah, that part is supposed to be part of the front. This is why I need it all on a different layer. This is why I stopped getting confused about these things. Okay. Boop. Go back over there, please. Thank you kindly. Okay. Alright, and then we'll pop this part back behind the head. Honestly, I probably should have done this way sooner, but it's okay. I'm doing it now. All is well. Alright. You know, I'm kind of glad that I decided to fix up my facial proportions before I started rendering things, because otherwise I would have had to... I typically do the hair first. So I would have had to, like, redraw all of her hair if I didn't have it quite right here. And that would have just been really, really unfortunate. Okay, I need to look at more Katya hair. This is way too long. So I'm just going, you know, for the general shapes again. Just kind of mapping it all out. I was going to analyze color, but then I realized everything I was doing was wrong, and, you know, it's good to get these things right first. These things happen. It's all good. How far under her eye does it go? Right about there should be good. And what about the other side? How does it stick up on her head there? She's got... It's like hair vent. Okay. So, do I have a shadow color? I do. Fantastic. So it's gonna be like this. You just gotta get that little triangle in there. Unfortunately, you know, for once, I don't actually need that much movement in the hair. Just a little bit is fine. There's no wind inside. So, no need to have the hair blowing around or anything. Okay. So I am copying the shape of her bangs here very closely. It's true, it does. So I can do a little bit if I want. But I can keep it pretty close to just how it is by default, and I don't have to worry about how it moves or anything. I can just draw it. It's very liberating. I changed my mind on how I wanted to structure part of that. Anyway, let's get that hair going out there. This should all be in shadow here, because it's a vent. I think I want to center it up a little bit more, too. There we go. That looks pretty nice. And I realize that some of this might change because I do want to look at the Path to Nowhere artist to reference how he does hair, but I figure I should at least get my basic shapes in. And just get it in a way that I can understand it, and then figure out all of his secrets. I am going to steal them all. It's gonna be fantastic. You know, that's a point. Just, one moment. Let me think about how to say this. So, one thing that I always tend to do when I am drawing hair is with the side bangs here, I still tend to keep them pretty close to the face because I observe, hey, this bit of hair here kind of goes underneath her eye. And so I try to keep a similar pattern where it goes underneath her eye. And I'm wondering if I should send it out a little bit further. I still want to keep it underneath her eye, of course. But I can potentially show some signs of, like, the side hair just a little bit more. And wonder if that would look better. I don't know, I kind of hate it. Okay. Well! It was something I was thinking about. Because that tends to be how I see a lot of people draw anime hair at various angles. And this is how I always handled it. Okay. No. We'll just stick with this. I think I like it a little better. How does my friend, the artist I'm referencing, handle it? Yeah, he's kind of the same way, because her head is tilted very slightly this way. Is there someone with a little bit more of an extreme tilt? This one is just kind of behind her. Her head is tilted maybe a little bit too much. How about you? What do you look like in your just standard standing pose? About the same. Okay, what does it look like? So, in this game, every character has a mugshot. They're often a little bit more forward-facing. So I'm comparing. Hard to say. Okay, let's go look at some other ones. So, basically, I like this artist a lot. I think he is fantastic. So I'm just looking to see how he handles various situations that I'm not quite sure on. So right now I'm looking at bangs specifically. So I see her face is facing slightly this way. I'd say that's probably comparable to how I'm facing Katya up there. And so I'm kind of analyzing how he handled the bangs. Alright. I want to go look at some more art of her. Sorry, I don't have it up on the screen here. But I think if I was going to... It would take me forever to save every single image. Yeah, it's about the same shape. The shape hasn't changed much. There's like a little bit more movement over on this side, but I think that's just atmosphere. So, and then you can see a little bit of the back of her hair kind of here. Where it's a little bit darker there, but anyway. It does appear to be about the same, so I think we might have similar taste in how we turn bangs. Because the funny thing with anime is because the details on the face are so sparse, every single detail becomes significantly more important. Oh yeah, it's very pretty. I like it a lot. That's why I brought it up there. But yeah, every single detail suddenly becomes much more important. So, while maybe if you were drawing a more realistic person, the exact shape of their hair wouldn't really matter, because I mean it changes all the time, right? When you're drawing an anime girl, it actually kind of does matter. If you want your anime girl, the fan art that you're drawing of a particular anime girl to look like her, the shape of the bangs is probably one of the most important things. The other thing being the shape of the eyes. I mean, could you imagine this girl if I gave her eyes shaped a little bit more like... Let's take a look. Like that? It wouldn't look anything like her. I could give her the same expression, I could give it the same narrowed look, but this kind of eye would not look like this character. It just wouldn't. And so, when you're drawing anime people, the shape of their bangs and the shape of their eyes just matter 10 times more. It's super important. They are not always, actually. They tend to be quite simple. Just look at 90s anime. Detail not important. It's the shape. Details do not matter. Shape matters a lot, though. I'm just inverting the hair here so that this way I can get this part, the white part of her bangs here. It kind of blends in with her head right now. I'll worry about that later. That's not going to be something I want for the future, but it's not really important right now. Right now, I just want to make sure the shapes are correct. Oh no, I mean... of course they're going to be detailed, because, you know, details are nice to look at. They're fun. Everyone loves them. And that's all fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with details, I'm just saying they really don't matter that much. It's all about shape. That's why when you think about good VTuber designs, they always involve strong silhouettes. That's like the #1 thing that you hear people talk about. Is you gotta have a good silhouette. It's because the shape and structure matters way more than the details. Nobody sees details properly. It's fine. Try drawing an anime girl from memory. I guarantee you will not remember the details, but you will remember the shape. No, it has nothing to do with busyness. You can have busy character designs. There's lots of very busy character designs that are immensely successful. It's all about very, very strong shapes. It's just easy for beginners and non-artists to see the details and think that's the difference. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do details. Like, saying that details don't matter is overstating it. 100%. But compared to just having a good shape, good shapes, understandable silhouettes, no, the details don't matter. That's why you gotta start with structural things first. Because that's what people actually see. They don't see these things. Like, if you look at this scribble here, at least to me, this is pretty recognizable as a flower. These are pretty recognizable as frills. This is recognizable as a hand. There are no details on any of these things. I didn't draw them. It wasn't important yet. And yet you can still recognize whatever this lump is as a hand. You can still recognize whatever this lump is as a flower. When it comes down to it, I think art is just visual communication. And people are very good at filling in certain details on their own if you manage to communicate the right ideas. And I think it's easy for beginners and people that are not familiar with art to just get very, very caught up on details. It is. Shapes are very important. But this is why you gotta do structural stuff first. Because when it comes down to it, the details are they're extra. And having the details and thinking through some of the details can be very satisfying, and it can definitely elevate the art. But if everything else is done poorly, if the more important things are done poorly, like if I don't have her hair drawn in a way that it looks like her hair, it's not going to look like Katya. And sometimes I wonder, while I was but in my initial design, I had her with braids going across her hair instead of bangs shaped like her bangs there. And I'm kind of thinking that the reason that I could not get the braided look to work was just because it didn't look like her. Because I didn't do the shape there. I tried to give her a different alternate hairstyle, and I just could not get it to work, no matter how hard I tried. So I think these ideas are very much connected. Okay, I think I can invert the colors back now. Yeah, so I think kinda I think I want all of this over a little bit more, though. It should be kind of partially covering her eyes and cheek a little bit there. Which also makes you a little bit long. yeah, I always think of small details as just something that makes what's already good that much better. But it has to be good first, otherwise the details won't save you. This piece of hair is just so swirly, and I just want to capture that lovely little swirl. Okay. Now then, let's see if I can make her face a little bit less potato with that. Because I feel like everything is placed well. So now I should be able to make her face a little bit thinner and have it all kinda work. I'm gonna make her neck long again, but, you know, such is life. It's fine. I'll fix it. Let's see, does your head feel small? Not the slightest. Okay. Let's see if I can get away with making it lower. I want to make sure that this white part is up against this kind of darker wooden part. Because that'll be another lovely contrasting color. And it'll make her stand out more. Fortunately, it looks like I don't have to try very hard for that. So, nice. Okay. Alright, sure. Let's do a little bit of shading analysis here. So, I want to look at the skin and the hair in particular. The eyes, I think I'm just going to roll with whatever I feel like doing. But, I'm very curious about the way he draws hair and the way he draws skin. So when I look at things here, the color contrast is very, very soft. So I think that there's kind of a light point right there. And then the lightest point is, besides the specular highlight on the tip of the nose, I see another really light spot right there. On the other side of the nose. And then in terms of dark spots, there's a lot kind of going on around the eyes here. It looks like he actually draws the eye sockets. One thing I very much approve of. I used to at one point, but I kind of stopped. And it looks like she's got a little bit of eye makeup going on. But I basically see the eye socket underneath the eyebrow here. And then a double eyelid crease kind of going around over here. And it looks like that folds into where the bridge of the nose starts. Is that actually how it is in real life? Yeah, touching my own face, that actually is how it works. Fascinating. I never noticed. Okay. Let's go look at some other people. Alright, so here it looks like the lightest point is on the cheek. And then everything else is a little bit less. And I see that she has kind of a blue filter over her. So everything is very, very blue. Even her, like her skin on her arms and stuff too. And so this is a very kind of a muddy purple. I'm actually surprised that his shadows are so desaturated. Is that just unique to this one? I could look at the other one. So normally, when we do shadows, we want the shadows to be a little bit more saturated than the rest. But no, he uses very desaturated shadows. I think they're still more saturated than the skin tone. Can I bring up a color picker real quick? Just so you can see what the heck I'm talking about. Window. Toolbars. Here we are, Docker. So let's see, is there a color picker here? That's a palette. Okay, now this is fine. I'll just scroll back and forth a lot. It's all good. Let's see. So if I call, like, the default skin tone just this color right here. And I plop it in. Where'd my cursor go? There you are. So I'll plop that right there. And then we get a shadow color. I'll use this one over by the nose. And I put them next to each other. So that skin tone is pretty close to white. No, you still can't see it. Where is it? I never use color pickers like that. I just always click into there whenever I want to pick colors. Color selector? No, not quite. Advanced color selector. Okay, there we go. This'll work. Okay, get out of there, because I don't want to keep this. Is that visible on stream? No, it is not. Can I... If I put you somewhere... Okay, now it is. Alright, I don't need my toolbar right now, so this is fine. Okay. Let's go look at some colors. Okay, so... You can see that this color is here. So, when we look at this triangle, you have the hue on the outer ring. And then you have lightness. You go from black to white. And then you have saturation. You go from gray to bright. And so it forms that triangle. So over here we have a very light color that is very desaturated. Whereas over here we'd have a very light color that is very saturated. So, yes, there we go. And then if I pick the shadow color, it's right there. So it is still a little bit more saturated. And maybe the reason that I see it as desaturated myself is just because I use bright colors out the wazoo for a lot of my stuff. I might have to actually be a little bit more reserved if I want to imitate his shading style a little bit. I'm not going to go for a one-to-one copy. I just want to steal some of his secrets. And then there we go. There's the color in her neck. So yeah, they're still getting more saturated. Okay. And then back to what I was talking about with this character. So everything is very blue. You can see that the hue is suddenly over here in blue. And we're getting a color that's pretty dang close to white in that cheek. And even here, her skin is super duper blue and super duper gray. And then we get into the shadows there and everything becomes a bit more purple. So I think that this artist likes to use warm shadows. And basically what that means is that he does a little bit of hue shifting in order to find shadows. So you can see that we start with these blue colors, right? Oh, this is actually pretty dang green, which is surprising. And then over in the shadows, they're suddenly a little bit more red. And he just likes using colors toward red whenever picking shadows. I like to use colors toward purple for my shadows, and then colors toward yellow for my highlights most of the time. And I'm just amazed. Look how freaking gray these shadow colors in her arm are. I would not... That is not the term I would use, no. Triad color scheme is a color scheme, not color picking for shadows. That's a little different. Okay. So let's go look at some more skin colors here. So we get that, and she doesn't really have any shadows on her face. I'm surprised. It's like we got a little bit of kind of redness for blushing on the cheeks compared to, you know, more over here. I think the reason that this is blue is because of JPEG artifacts, not because that's the color he used. But, yeah. So man, he goes super close to white. Ooh, here's a good shadow. Yeah, still going down and very much going towards red as things get darker. Whereas I like to go toward purple. I've got to try going toward red. At least for the skin. For this drawing, though. So if I use this as my base, I'm pretty sure that I already went towards purple for my basic shadows there just to help me draw. So this is my base. If I want to go bring this a little bit more toward red. Like, what's the difference here? Yeah, these are actually really similar in hue. I am very surprised. So I'd probably want to go just a little bit up here. And to about here. So perhaps somewhere around there. And then if I start plopping down some of these shadows on her face. Let's see. How does he plop down shadows? Like, I established that this one had barely any. But when he has the heads tilted like this, there tends to be a little bit. So if I look here, yeah, that is a bit darker than the stuff there. And here we have a pretty extreme one. This is probably closer to the lighting that I want to go for. But I always tend to do my lighting at the end, so... Man, her skin tone is so dark and so gray. And there is so little difference between these two colors. That is fascinating. Okay. Now I have to think about how I want to approach this. I'm just thinking about the types of colors he uses. The types of colors I like to use. Because I do like the color I have here. I think it looks pretty nice. And if I go back up to doodle layer there. Oh, wrong brush. There we go. You can see mine's a bit more purple. Do I want to change the types of colors I use, or do I just want to try a smoother shading style? Nah, I'm clearly running away from doing something hard. So, let's... Let's try to use colors closer to what this guy likes. So in terms of lighting, I like the way this one is, and I like the way this one is. I think I'm gonna keep the neutral room color, though. Like, I'm not sure about this artist's process. I don't think that he has any time lapses or the like for any of these. So I can't really check to see, does he put a filter on at the end, or is he drawing like this from the beginning? And my method has always been, I put the filter on at the end. I'm gonna keep doing that. So that's, you know, why I have layers like this. So that this way I can have just kind of a basic thing and then do the lighting afterward. I get the feeling that at least some of it is a filter at the end, though, because the gradation on this part of her dress right here is just, like, so perfect. Yes. Yes, it does. Okay. So basically I should take the exact colors I see with a grain of salt. But at the very least for skin, he does go towards red, and then I see for the white here. Here he's going more toward blue. I think it's more blue than purple. Yeah, I'd call that blue. The part that gets the most purple is like right through here, but that is so gray that I could believe it's JPEG artifacting, making things hard for me. I think these are actually PNGs, but whatever. I'll use my improper terminology, it's fine. But if for anyone curious about how I study styles, this is it. This is how I study artists. A lot of the time I just look at it, but I'm going a little bit more in depth here because I actually want to kind of analyze the colors used and stuff. But yeah, this is how I look at things, as well as the thing that I did in that first hour of drawing this image in the first episode. This is how I go about it. So, let's see. So we go towards red. We prefer warm colors in the skin, which I think is more normal for people. I'm weird in that I like to use purple everywhere, because purple is a fantastic color, and it makes everything great. So I'll try a little bit of a warmer skin tone. Yeah. It's okay. I think when you're just learning the basics, I think just looking at the art can help a lot, and just pointing out what you like and what you don't. At this point, I'm looking for more specific techniques, but I think a beginner would have a hard time picking that out. So it's easier just to look at it and just be like, okay, I like her face. So then break down, why do you like her face? I think for a lot of people, it's just gonna be like, well, she's pretty. But it's easy to break down why she's pretty. It's like, maybe you think her hair is pretty. Maybe you think her eyes are pretty. And then you can just kind of dig further into that. Of just, you know, what makes pretty hair? And try a few different things to figure that out. Or if we zoom out here. Honestly, there's a lot to like in this. For me, what struck out immediately was I liked the lighting. I liked the way that the light just... This bright yellow light just hit her, and it's just... She looks so sun-kissed, and it's wonderful. Now that was the big thing that stood out to me. And you can just start trying to pick out, why do I like this? And that'll be sufficient to kind of get you started. And if you can't figure that out, then find an artist that you just really, really like. And try to draw something similar to them. Just try to copy it. Or if you don't want to copy it and you want to draw your own thing, pick a basic that you're having trouble with. Like, maybe you're having trouble with proportions, and you're like, okay, let's look at her face. Her eyes are about halfway down, nose about halfway between the eyes and the chin, and mouth a little bit less... The bottom of the mouth is a little bit less than halfway between the nose and the bottom of the chin. And if we look at her body proportion, well, you can see that her head... Let's see, if I make my brush about this size, that's about her chin to the top of her head. So I can measure about how many heads tall she is. So from her head down to her chest here is one head. From her chest down to her waist is another one. And then we have a bend in the leg here, but that's okay. I can still kind of feel it out here. Let's go from the tips of her feet here. So we got 1, 2. Let me get a little bit better of a landmark there. Okay, so 2, 3. And so we'll call up to where she's sitting here from the tips of her feet about 3 heads. And then here, I'll call this maybe 1.5 to 2. So you can see that from idealized proportions, her legs are actually quite long, and her lower legs are a bit bigger than her upper leg here. We got 1, 2, well, no, it goes a little further back. So probably closer to 3 here. From largely where her waist connects back here. So you can measure out proportions like that. It's a bit harder with sitting characters. It'd be really easy with standing ones like this. Or if I measure out about where I think the top of her head is. We got 2. Her head is tilted a little bit, so it's probably actually a little higher than that, but around there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. His characters have ridiculously long legs. So that is, you know, a way to analyze proportions if you're having trouble with proportions, for example. So he likes to draw really, really long legs. And his torsos tend to be a little bit smaller. This is extremely common in anime, by the way. Where those idealized Loomis proportions where people are about, 7 or 8 heads tall. Anime rarely follows it. I'd say the average anime girl is maybe 6 or 7 heads tall. And depending on what you like, you can even go down to 4 or 5. It just depends what you like. It says nothing besides what you personally enjoy. And, I mean, you can see if we take the size of the legs here. I kind of have to estimate where they start connecting underneath her dress there, but I think it's probably, based on the cut, probably right about here. She is like 2/3 leg. And to be fair, we got some perspective that's bringing her feet forward, so that's going to make her legs a little bit bigger, but still, her legs are quite large. So this is the kind of thing you can study when if you want to study proportions. You can actually measure them out. And that's just an example. I don't know what you're struggling with, so I just picked something at random. For me, I don't particularly feel like I'm struggling with color or anything, but I really like this guy's shading style. So I'm just seeing what he does. I'm just kind of exploring how he shades things. And I don't know if I want to try to imitate his colors or not. I think my colors are pretty good. But I'm doing it for fun. just to try something new and get out of how I'm normally thinking about things. Let's go ahead and plop a little bit of color down before I start heading out here. And my light source is behind me, so this is going to be the side that's in shadow. So I will plop in some of this more red shadow than what I'm used to. I also don't normally pick colors like this. Normally I use an overlay or multiply brush with a purple in order to pick colors, but I am insisting on picking colors here. I'm not sure if these are the right ones yet. I'm not going to worry about it. We'll worry about it later. So I'm kind of brushing over the areas that I think should be dark. And she's not directly facing the light, so I think that there should only be like a sliver of light around her. And I'm not even sure if I should be lighting it this much because, like, is this going to look weird when it comes time for me to add my filters? I don't know. But, we can figure it out. It's fine. Okay, so let's pick a brighter color. The color I kind of got going in the background there is also red, but I think I want to bring her a little bit more toward pink. For this very bright light here. So I'll just kind of line her cheek with that. It's not super noticeable, but I'll still leave it there. And I guess this will be the color I also used for like some of the brightest areas, like the tip of her nose, when it comes time to draw that. It might be about time. What does the nose look like? So the side facing the light kind of gets a bright spot there, and then there's like a really bright spot just outside of it. And the nostril, very triangular. How does it look on Eve here? Yeah, she doesn't really have much of a nostril. I think you see a little bit right there. Yeah, but at least consistently, the shape of the nose is largely defined by a highlight. Not here. This one is more defined by the shadow. Okay, what kind of colors do you use for the inner part of the eye here? How close is this color and this color? They're actually quite far away. Okay. So this one's going to be a little bit too light. So let's go a little bit more toward red. And a little bit darker here. So maybe out to about there. That seems to kind of match up with that. And this is going to kind of define the eye sockets and the nose. Okay, so the nose is kind of defined by a shadow and a highlight pair. So I'll get the shadow on there. This is probably a bit too dark, so I'll blend that out a little bit. And then I can grab my highlight here and kind of plop that around here. And then I should be able to kind of start hiding some of the other layers there. I just kind of needed it there, so this way I would know where to put it. And this is going to require some heavy-duty slowing down and really trying to take everything in. I probably shouldn't be blending it quite so much yet, but I'm kind of wrapping up for today, so it's all good. So far, I would not say that looks like this artist's nose. Just aside from it being bad, but it doesn't quite have the same kind of definition yet. How does the cheeks on the dark side look? Okay. So what I'm seeing, here there's like no definition. That is amazingly simplified. There's very little here too. But here, we get a little bit more of a shadow here, and then some shadows kind of underneath the eyes. And she has some shadows underneath the eyes too, but they're not very strong. So there's lots of different ways I could potentially go about this. Depending on what I want. And like I said, I want her to look just a little bit unpleasant. So I think having a little bit of a darker area underneath here might actually be good. Maybe something like that. I just set the brush to multiply to kind of help me pick colors. But this is kind of how I think about it. And how I go about really looking into what other people are doing. And at the very least, I think trying to do something very much outside of my comfort zone here will probably teach me a lot. And I do feel like I've been in a little bit of a slump lately. So I'm really hopeful that just trying something very weird for me might kind of bring me out of it a little. And right now I'm kind of going back into my usual ways there, so I should probably stop. And it's also about time for me to go. So I guess I'll go ahead and stop there. And next time I think I'm probably going to be focused more on the design of this side. But, you know, maybe we can do some face. Where's my layers? I'm going to turn them back on. I turn them back on the suit side too, even though they don't quite match very well. But there we go. That's the kind of composition we're going to have. And eventually I'll figure out what I want for the suit design. I just know I want it to be more frilly. That much I do know. And I kind of like what I have down now. I think it's maybe a little bit too bottom heavy at the moment. So I want more stuff going up in the top half. And thank you. Let me get rid of that because that will drive me nuts. And we'll come back over there. There we go. I don't want to be messing with my workspace. So yeah, I think it's getting there. And, you know, eventually I'll kind of figure this out and I'll incorporate certain things into how I shade things. His faces are so amazingly soft, though, and I would like to figure out how he does it. It feels like magic to me right now. But it's okay. The fact that it feels like magic just shows that I don't sufficiently understand it. So we'll see what I can take from this artist. Steal all his ideas. But, thank you all for coming. And I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I will see you all tomorrow.